Interesting talk about collaboration this morning, but we also got onto the skill sets and how people, what sort of person is going to evaluate the sort of technologies that are going to be involved in some sort of our kind of collaboration environment where we're using or will be using in a year or two's time.
Yeah, I think we're at a really key point, and I think the skill set's evolving that we need to, as employers, but also in terms of the people that we're looking to bring into our organisations, need to have transdisciplinary skills. So it's not just going to be possible to gain access to organisations if you have a very narrow or tight set of understanding, knowledge or experience. We're looking for a really broad skill set now because those collaborative environments inherently dictate the need to build solutions from a whole raft and palette of technologies. And that doesn't just sit within AV, it's across a whole raft of disciplines, IT for example, but also acoustics, space design, lighting, etc.
So is the search for better collaborative tools going to open up the open system world? I mean, you've been working with open tools for quite a while, haven't you? I see there's an increase in that.
Yeah, I really hope so. I mean, I think a lot of the philosophy behind the design work that we're undertaking at the moment is to really carefully think about the protocols, standards, principles that we're trying to apply so that we get key flexibility out of it, because the days that you'd buy into an ecosystem and then expect that ecosystem to have, to stay with that for a long period of time are pretty much over. I mean, we have to be able to respond quickly to the changing nature of our environments. We might get a request and need to have a solution in place within weeks. And actually, in order to be able to evolve to deliver against that type of an environment, we've got to have a really great Lego kit. And that Lego kit has to be universal, and we need to be able to apply it in our own terms.
Is this something business can learn from the academic world?
I think it needs to be a bi-directional exchange of knowledge. I think certainly working in partnership with manufacturers, working in partnership with the training bodies within the industry, so AVIXA for example, how do we start to get those conversations and those bits of dialogue working in a way that the sort of cause and effect, the latency between a desire or a need within a particular market or a vertical and there being a viable product needs to get shorter. So I've been working with a number of manufacturers recently, and it's been very interesting to see a shift in that philosophy, that the lag between a request and there being at least a conversation around what the timeline is going to be to develop something is getting shorter. So we're getting there, we're making headway and progress, but I think it still needs to be faster.
What about best practice approaches? I love this best practice, of course, all about anything else. Is when you've got to have such an open system environment and you're trying new things and you have to maintain flexibility and agility and all the great words we mentioned, is that too rigid a structure to put into under a heading like best practice, or do you need to be much more open than that? Because best practice is the best of what we can offer, and I suppose you're looking at a new solution and taking the best of what you see. Yeah. Is that the right word to use, or I mean?
I think you can have some principles, and I think you apply those principles, and I think best practice falls out of those, having those standards and principles. I think one of the tricks or the tricky areas within particularly the AV integration piece is that we haven't yet got to the maturity you find in some adjacent marketplaces around the interoperability between products and the protocols used to exchange information between products. So I'd very much like to see that open out, because I think that's to the benefit of all. And I think as yet we haven't got to that point that we've got very clear, distinct, open standards and principles in which you can take product X from this manufacturer and product Y from this manufacturer and know that they're just going to play nicely together and work well.